Welcome to the She Did It Her Way podcast, where it's all about making the ultimate leap from your 9 to 5 and building a business and life you love, all while doing it your way. I'm your host, Amanda Boleyn. Let's get started. Before we get into today's episode, I wanted to share some context because this episode is not the traditional interview or solo cast. It is actually a coaching call from one of my online programs, Podcast Your Way, where I coach online course creators and coaches how to launch their podcast in order to grow and market their business. The reason why I wanted to share this with you is because I felt that this conversation is valuable in understanding not only how to launch your podcast, but really how to think through marketing your online business with the end in mind in who you are marketing towards, what are their challenges and pain points, and how to structure content and how to structure your entire online business ecosystem. So this is great if you want to launch a podcast, but this episode is also really great if you are an online business owner and you are looking to get more insight on how to structure your entire roadmap and the ecosystem of your online business from marketing and your course offerings. So with that, let's get into the episode. Your question is a couple questions. One is deciding the names for your podcast. So one speaks to the target audience, the counselor, CEO, and the other one is more around the theme, what's the best practice in naming. And then the other question is for content. Sorry, I've been speaking all day long and my brain is raw. The other is content buckets. So anything else that you want to add that you have questions beyond those two things?
Those are the two main ones right now because I'm going through the course now, and that's where I get stuck, and I think sometimes I get stuck up here.
We all do. We all do. That's exactly what these hours are for, to kind of get us out of our head. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about the name of the podcast, and then we can talk about content buckets. And if anything else comes up and you're able to stay on, great. If not, we can always roll that up into the next office hour.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about the overall theme of your podcast and business too, if that plays a role.
Okay. It does somewhat play a role because professionally I am a counselor, but my work is really helping other counselors and women leaders to really build their professional brand, their personal brand, and their business. Mm-hmm. So I know there's not a lot sometimes out there for counselors to help do that piece. Mm-hmm. So that's why I kind of came up with a counselor CEO, because we tend to see ourselves as clinicians and not CEOs of our business. Mm-hmm. And so it's being able to share information, but also to have other counselors or other leaders out there come on and talk about their journey of moving from whatever their practice is to actually becoming the CEO of their business, to kind of shift in that mindset.
Okay, perfect. Just with hearing you say that, definitely the title that speaks to the target audience is going to be stronger. And I think that I like the counselor CEO. Mm-hmm. But I wonder, based on what you shared with me, if it would be counselor to CEO, because it's speaking to the transformation.
Transition. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because they still are a counselor, right? But they're transitioning into this new identity of, okay, I'm a counselor, but I'm also a CEO. Yeah. And that's the part that, based on what you're sharing with me, is what you help them with, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. So I think
that makes sense.
If I was someone who's a counselor, who's starting up their own practice, who's trying to figure out how do I do this? And I see a podcast that's counselor to CEO, I'm going to go, wait a second, what is this? Okay. And then the next step is I'm going to read the description.
Okay. Yes.
To be does this align? And do I want to invest my time and energy in listening? So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That makes sense.
Maybe I'm biased, but I like the counselor to CEO because I think it speaks to the transformation.
And you said the optimal word, because I've been trying to figure out what is the transformation when I'm doing this. And It is the helping them to transition to.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Okay.
Beautiful. That was
Yes.
easy.
That was real easy.
Yeah. We'll see something. We just got to get out of our head sometimes.
Right. Because this is because I stay up there.
Yeah.
I was thinking. And so then around the content buckets,
Mhm.
I was thinking, I was like, okay, so for them it's around like your identity, like
Mhm.
who you are, and some mindset, because it's going to take some shifting around mindset. But then
Mhm.
also, and I was trying to think like, is business and entrepreneurship the same?
Yeah, well, let me ask you, what's your website?
My website is drdangerfield.com.
Okay. What a great last name.
It took me forever to figure out that was like a very good last name, and really it wasn't until I was in my doctoral program and another student, he would say from the very beginning, he was like, I cannot wait until you become a doctor. He said, because that last name kills it.
Yes, it does. It's so amazing.
Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh. Okay. Let me just peruse your website really
Mhm.
quick to kind of
Okay.
like, let's see.
And I want to say I love your podcast because I've been listening to it for a couple of years.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of pepper you with some questions. So just
Okay.
respond like short, sweet, doesn't
Okay.
need to be a drawn on. Where are your clients primarily? So for example, you say my mission is to help empower and equip mental health professionals to build, grow, and lead in their career and business. Are you targeting those who are in their career? Or are you targeting those that are in their career in building their own practice?
That they're in their career and then they're wanting to build their own practice.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So in career
Mhm.
and building practice. And so they've already identified, made the decision. They know that they want to build their own practice. It's not a
Mhm.
matter of like, ooh, I think I kind of want to build it. Like they're mentally committed to building their
Yes.
practice.
Yes.
Okay. So you kind of come in and you're like, okay, cool. You've already made the decision that you want to build your own practice. Let me give you the 12, I'm making this up, 12-step roadmap on exactly how to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Helping them to move through that process.
Okay. Perfect. And it seems like your process is the build, grow, and lead framework, kind of. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Build, grow, lead, framework. Okay. Oh, you have a collective. Nice. Okay. I'm going to keep clicking. Don't mind me.
Okay.
Okay. And lead a fully booked business. Like, oh, amazing. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Sorry. My brain is like, okay, I'm going to throw something out there, but don't
Okay.
let it derail you or overwhelm you.
Mhm.
I like the build, grow, and lead as like subtext, but I wonder if you have the counselor to CEO podcast, there's an opportunity to have the counselor to CEO framework, the counselor to CEO mastermind of
Yes,
like,
yes, yes, yes. You're going in the
okay.
right way because that's on my board. It's on my project assignment board in front
Oh,
of me.
okay. Okay. So I won't get too far ahead of you, but I just think that like,
Yes.
the build, grow, and lead, don't get me wrong, sounds great, but like from a excuse my language, but I was going to be like WTF, like, what is that?
Yeah.
It's like, wait, but what is that? Right.
Yes.
And I think the more concise and clear and specificity that we can bring to our words, the more efficient we're going to be at qualifying people who is a good fit and who's not a good fit.
Okay.
So with that being said, let's go back to the pillars.
Okay.
What are the key, just talk to me a little bit. What are some of the key things that you teach in your collective?
One, how to build your professional identity as the expert.
Okay. What else?
And then the other is how to grow a business that is authentic to who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other piece is like really showing up as a leader. So having impact in your community, the profession, and the
Mm-hmm.
world.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And I think your pillars are probably going to be similar to that of a lot of or content buckets to that of
Mhm.
like a lot of businesses in general. It's just the way
Okay.
that it's positioned is specific to your target market.
Okay.
Meaning that like your content buckets could be, I'm just making these up as I go, like one of them could be interview series
Hmm. Okay.
with clients,
Yeah.
your clients, right? That are making like sharing the behind the scenes, how
Okay.
they're going through it. It's creating social proof. I think
Okay.
another content bucket is around the um what goes into it's more of like business entrepreneurship. So what goes into building your counselor business?
Hmm.
Another bucket can be mindset, and then under that is the identity. Like you can
Okay.
have, like if you double clicked it, it's like the identity transformation and
Hmm.
how do you go inward and all these things.
Okay.
Fourth content bucket is leadership.
Okay.
So then under
Yes.
leadership, you might have sub buckets,
Okay. Hmm.
right?
Okay.
And if you start with those four, great. If you want to add another bucket, awesome. But I think like if I was someone who is a counselor that knows she wants to go out on her own, I want to hear other stories of women who have done that
Done
as
that.
well,
Yes.
whether
Hmm.
they're clients or not. But I just need to be inspired by other people so that it's demonstrated that it's possible.
Yes. Okay.
I want to know the how to. So like how you set up an online business legally is probably going to be fairly similar to that of a counselor business with some minor differences, right? But
Yes.
that's why yours is unique to this market because you're going to bring that intel to them.
Hmm.
Under biz, it could be like how to market your counselor business, how to generate leads, right? Like all those are sub topics underneath the larger bucket. Then the mindset is, identity. It can be how to like mindset as a CEO, how
Hmm.
mindset of time management, or that like number
Yes.
three, the
Okay. The
mindset could also
financial
be,
and
it could
most like
be,
the financial piece of like going from like a
yeah,
counselor mindset to CEO mindset around money is
yes.
a big difference. Yes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
like all of those things. And then like the third bucket of mindset could also be personal development. So like how to
Yes.
manage your
Okay.
time as a CEO. Um,
Mm.
And then, and then the last one again, like leadership, it could be personal leadership. It could be based on teams. It could be on
Mhm.
like how you want to represent in the community. What's your overall vision and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So,
See, that makes, and this is like confirming what I was thinking, but it
uh-huh.
wasn't making sense.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about like how, okay. So if I click join now, okay. Are people paying to be in your group?
No, this is I just started it, so it's a free that is a
Perfect.
free group right now. Yes.
Okay. Beautiful. Cause that's like you got 62 members. You're going to keep
Hmm.
growing. Like once you hit 100, then, let's see, once you hit like hundreds, usually that mark where you can kind of like start offering things or beta
Okay.
testing because it's, you have enough, right? Like, and forgive me, maybe you probably already know this too. And so in terms of like, if you have 100 leads, there's a conversion percentage, which is why like marketing and sales is all numbers, because the more people you get at the top of the funnel,
Hmm.
the greater number of people you're going to convert at the bottom. So if that 2 to 7% always stays the same, if you have 100 people, you could potentially get up to 7 people ish
Okay.
in your offer. And that all
That makes
depends on
sense.
like how qualified those people in your group. But I think the Facebook group, I used to do Facebook group. I don't do
Hmm.
that anymore, but I think it's a great way to create buzz, to collect leads. Are you
Hmm.
collecting their email when
I
they sign?
am.
Okay,
I am. Yes.
nice,
Okay.
nice. Um, and then yeah, and then do you know what you want to offer them? Like, do you have an idea of
I was looking. I was thinking about a mastermind
Mhm.
because people they like the group, but they also like a smaller group where they
Mhm.
get to experience like working with me and working with
Mhm.
other people. So I was thinking about a mastermind. I hadn't thought about because I hadn't thought about a class that I could offer, but I was thinking maybe like a small or like a short mastermind group.
Perfect. When you say short, what does short mean to you?
Like anywhere when I'm saying short, I'm talking about shorter than 12 months.
Oh, okay, perfect. I had no, like some people's definition of short is like a month. So
Yeah.
but I think that's
Yeah.
perfect. I'm happy to share some like ideas just based
Okay.
on working.
Hmm.
One of my, so for example, one of my one-on-one clients,
Hmm.
she just did a beta launch. So something you could
Okay.
do if maybe you've thought of this is, what I would do first, actually forget the launch and stuff,
Hmm.
is like mind map, let's take 90 days as a container to start,
Okay.
especially
Hmm.
if it's a beta offer, right? Imagine you have 12 weeks to teach your counselor to CEO framework
Hmm.
or roadmap,
Okay.
right? Then list out, just brainstorm, whiteboard. Okay, what are all the things that someone needs to do? But you could also do this like the post-it note method. You could
Hmm.
just write a topic on post-it notes and then lay them all out and start to collect and see like, okay, these could be grouped here, these could be grouped here, da da
Hmm.
da, right?
Okay.
Then you're going to start to see kind of like the modules or like the 5 steps
Okay.
of the
Hmm.
framework.
Okay.
And what well, all you don't need anything like crazy fancy. I know sometimes in the online world, it's like, we got to have the perfect sales page. Literally, my client created a Word doc, Google
Hmm.
Word doc. It was
Okay.
like 2 pages, and she pre-sold hers was she has 2 offers. One's a beta 6 weeks, and then she's getting ready to do the beta um 12 weeks, which is kind of like the next graduation.
Revelation.
But like
Okay.
it was just she did a webinar training and then
Okay.
invited people into her beta launch where she offered it at 50% off because she's like, I know I like know what I'm teaching, but like I want people to go through it. I'm looking for feedback.
Uh-huh.
You get really intimate hands-on work with me. And then she ended up selling, I think it was price. Hers was, she's designing it more of like a course. So it's a lower offer, the way that it's
Hmm.
fitting into her ascension ladder. So normal price is 500. She sold it for 250 for
Hmm.
6 weeks. And she ended up hitting over $3,000 just in a beta launch. And
Okay.
again, right, like $3,000 when you see like people are launching and they're doing a $50,000 launch can be a little like, oh, that's not a lot. But I think the frame of mind is like, let's just get it out
Out. Hmm.
and beta test it. Like we're
Yes.
always going to spend more time up front. That's what entrepreneurship and business is. You're investing your
Right.
time and energy. So yeah, I think like get it to 100 people and then just loosely map
Okay.
out, what 12 weeks would look like. And not every week needs to be content. Every other week could be like live coaching and
Okay.
Q&A, and you can run it in your Facebook group. You don't have to sign up for any fancy bells and whistles yet.
Hmm.
You can do all the content and go live like in there. Yeah, sorry, that was
Yeah.
probably a lot. That was probably more than you bargained for.
No, that this has been helpful. It has. It has been really helpful. And really the counselor to CEO, that is like that was like shifting for me. They helped me to like say, okay,
Yeah.
the transformation is that moving from a counselor to a CEO will change your life.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
That's
the
the way to think
transformation,
about
right?
it.
Have
Mhm.
you written the description yet or no? Oh,
No,
and
not yet.
okay, I want to be mindful of time. So just cut me off
Yeah.
whenever you need to go. Um, in the description, it's a couple things to keep in mind. Use language that identifies where your ideal listener is at in their journey, and
Okay.
think about some of the words that people are using
Mhm.
inside of your
Okay.
Facebook group.
Okay.
Pull that in. You can do a brief short intro of like your journey, but we don't want to like
Mhm.
spend tons of time, like just enough that shows and demonstrates credibility that like
Mhm.
you've been where they've been,
or you've been where they are and you're helping them transform. And then you can do a call to action to your website in the description, like want to learn more.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be short and sweet. And like, that's something that once you write it, you can submit it for coaching too, or the office hours.
Okay.
So
yeah. This has been very helpful.
Oh, good.
This is giving me a roadmap on how to move forward.
Well, good. I'm glad that makes me happy. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Yeah, if you have any questions, we had to move next month's coaching calls a little bit earlier. I'm going to be on the East Coast, but Jennifer, my assistant, is making those updates. So just as an FYI, but yeah, you can submit more than one question, submit as many questions as you want. And then, yeah, if you can't make it live, no problem. I still record the questions that are asked and then my responses too. So, yeah, beautiful.
Well, thank you so much and have fun this weekend.
Thank you. I will. Hopefully it's not as hot as it is in Chicago right now. It's like 90 degrees, but
yeah,
it is. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening and afternoon. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you.
If you enjoyed today's podcast episode, you can head on over to shediditherway.com where you can access the entire vault of She Did It Her Way podcast episodes. And you can also access free trainings and resources all about how to make the ultimate leap from your 9 to 5. And if you enjoyed today's podcast episode, I would be so grateful if you headed on over to iTunes and left a review letting me know what you love about the She Did It Her Way podcast. Until next time, keep doing it your way.